Right Honorable Speaker, the relatives to the deceased managed to positively identify the said body as that of their kin, Daniel Muthiani Bernard, alias Sniper, on 18th December 2023, and the same day, detectives from the Homicide Investigations Unit in Nairobi took over the investigations from the area police, and this was because of the highly politicized and sectional emotional sentiments that were coming at that time and still are coming until now about the commission of that grievous crime against the deceased. And therefore, we sent a team of detectives from the homicide unit in Nairobi to take it over from the local police authorities in Meru. Mr. Speaker, sir, a post-mortem was conducted by the Chief Government Pathologist, Dr. Johansen Oduor, on 22nd December 2023. And in his opinion, the cause of death was asphyxia due to ligature strangulation. Mr. Speaker, sir, investigations have placed 5 accused persons at the scene of the abduction. Vincent Mureithi Kiremi, Kenneth Murangiri Wantai, Christus Manyara Kiambi, Brian Mwenda, and Boniface Kithinji Njuya. These 5 were together with the deceased from Meru town all the way to Mutonga River, where the body was dumped. Further, samples collected during the post-mortem examination and submitted to the government chemist for analysis indicated that it contained acetamiprid and cyhalothrin, which are systemic insecticides. Kenneth Murangiri Wantai was particularly in constant communication with Vincent Mureithi alias Supu during the time of luring the deceased, the time of abduction, and the time of the disposal of the body. He thereafter met Vincent and the other accused persons at Makutano suburb of Meru County after the execution of the crime. At the close of the investigations, a charge, at least on those 5, investigations have closed on those 5, or were closed on those 5, and a charge of murder contrary to section 203 as read together with section 204 of the Penal Code was recommended against Vincent Mureithi alias Supu, Kenneth Murangiri Wantai alias Tali, Christus Kiambi Manyara alias Chris, Brian Mwenda alias Brayo, and Boniface Kithinji Njuya alias DJ Kaboom. All the 5 accused persons were charged before the High Court at Kiambu in High Court Criminal Case E001 of 2024, and they all pleaded not guilty. They are remanded at Nairobi and Kitengela remand prisons. The case was last mentioned on 23rd of April 2024. The hearing of this case has been set. The hearing dates are 24th, 25th, and 26th. And then the ruling on bail is set on 16th May 2024, which is next week. Honorable Speaker, sir, investigations were commenced immediately the report was made, and from the foregoing, it is not true that there has been delay in investigations. What there has been is that we believe this is a very complicated crime. There could have been other people beyond the 5 who may have been responsible, but we are yet to establish any direct or circumstantial evidence so that we can open additional charges for any additional people. But for the 5, Honorable Speaker, we have a watertight murder case against the 5. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government is committed to uphold the freedom of expression and right of information as enshrined in the Constitution. Any journalist or blogger who is intimidated or harassed is encouraged to report to the nearest police station or even to anonymously report so that action can be taken. And I want to assure the House, through you, Honorable Speaker, that the government is committed to make sure that our agencies for law enforcement act fairly and enforce the law against all persons without fear or favor, without discrimination, and without any bias. Honorable Speaker, our police officers have been sensitized on upholding the rule of law and constitutionalism, and therefore nobody should feel unsafe, nobody should feel as if they are not protected by the law of Kenya or by the law enforcement agencies of our country. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Senator for Meru, you have an opportunity to ask 2 supplementary questions pursuant to Standing Order 51C7.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the CS for the comprehensive brief that he has given this House, and also to commend him because he's one of the visible CSs that we have in this country and who are doing some good work. So, Mr. Speaker, mine was actually to ask the CS whether the investigations have been concluded. He has touched on it. And, Mr. Speaker, the reason that why I'm asking so is that this homicide department of our police force has not delved on the sponsors or the people who paid these 5 who are already in the cells. At no point has there been any link to any other person on this matter. So, Mr. Speaker, my first supplementary question is to ask why this investigating body has never touched on the sponsors of this man. Noting that, Mr. Speaker, Sniper is still in mortuary. He has never been buried. The family, the wife, the family, the entire Meru community is waiting for justice for Sniper. And the whole community has agreed this guy will never be buried until we see justice is being done. If at all we could get that link of who are these sponsors, because the CSC statement was very clear who Sniper was.
Senator for Meru.
Let me even ask this only this supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Let me guide you. I'm not going to guide you. Let me guide you. Honorable Senator for Meru, you are expressing an opinion. And if you look at Standing Order 51B, which gives you the parameters of a question, it says a question shall not, and it gives many components, and F says seek an expression of an opinion. The opinion you're giving is that there are sponsors behind this homicide. Now, the space you're trying to get into, you may be called upon to substantiate, and I don't think you'll be in a position to do that comfortably. So, as you ask the supplementary question, avoid giving your opinion on this matter. Proceed, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, is then to request the CS for speedy investigations, whatever bit that is remaining, we request as a Meru community for speedy investigation so that can be concluded, because he really said that investigations are still ongoing to see whether there are other people involved. So I request that maybe expedites more investigations so that this guy can get justice, and then he will be put to rest, because still he is in the mortuary, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, investigations have not concluded. The murder file on the deceased is still open, and murder files are never closed, and there is no statute of limitations on murder offenses, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the House through you that all persons who may have participated in any way, directly or indirectly, in the heinous and cruel murder of the deceased will be held accountable. Mr. Speaker, as the Minister responsible for our national security, I want to assure the Senate that the government has full confidence in the work of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, particularly the inquiry and investigations being carried out by the homicide unit in this particular matter and all the other matters, and therefore there is no cause of alarm. And finally, Honorable Speaker, in the event that any member of the public has any information that can help us link anyone that they think there is evidence linking them to this murder, please give us the evidence. But at the moment, we are analyzing data, and that I take cue from the request by the Senator. We'll be asking the agencies to expedite without, of course, interfering with this work that is being done. We want to make sure by the time we take people to court, we will have them convicted. For these 5, I see no room for maneuver. They will have to be held accountable because the evidence is watertight.
Senator Wambua.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish the CS and his department well as they try to establish a nexus between this crime and those people that they're saying have not been netted yet. Mr. Speaker, mine is a related question and a request to the CS. Mr. Speaker, you remember yesterday on the floor of this House, I brought the matter of the 7 Kenyans from Kitui who were murdered in a terror attack in Mandera on the 29th of April. The bodies of those Kenyans are lying at City Mortuary, and we have 4 of them admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital. It's a live matter, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the CS may not have the fine details of each of these cases, but just to extract a comment from him on the request that the families are making for reprieve with help in the treatment of those in hospital, the footing of the medical bills, in the making of the arrangements for burial expenses and body reconstruction for those who are blown up to pieces by the blast. All of them, Mr. Speaker, and I mentioned yesterday, they are neighbors of the CS. Of course, he is a national government official. They all come from Mwingi West and Mwingi Central constituencies, 7 of them. Can the CS make an undertaking that he will facilitate the taking care of the bills for those people that have been blasted in that bomb? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable Wambua, that is not a supplementary question. That is a substantive question. And therefore, Honorable CS, if you're in a position to respond to it, you may proceed. If you're not, you don't have to, because it is not a supplementary questions as defined by our standing orders. Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a long tradition in this country for governments, not just this particular administration, all governments or administrations to support Kenyans in distress. And therefore, although the Senator for Kitui has ambushed me, invoking neighborhood and other true facts, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the Senator for Kitui, my brother, Senator Wambua, that the government will lend a hand of support to our brothers and who are affected by that attack, that unfortunate attack in Mandera on 29th of April. And the Senator is encouraged to get in touch with me this afternoon so that we can avail what government is able to do to support all the affected families.
Senator Mutinda Tabitha. Now, a supplementary question must relate to the primary question. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me start by appreciating the CS for the great work that he's doing. And on the issue of one sniper, Mr. CS, you know that one of the key evidences for any murder is 1, the body, 2, the weapon, 3, the motive. In this case, you have the body, you have the motive, which was criticizing the governor. In the 5 arrested accused people, we have Ken, who is a brother to the governor. We have Supu, who is the PA to the governor, the PA to the husband of the governor. We also have the crime scene, which you investigated, which was a home to the, is a home to the governor.
Senator Tabitha.
My question, Mr. Speaker.
Are those facts contained in the response by the CS?
Yes, they are contained, and that's where I'm bringing my question from. I'm basing my question on the feedback.
Now, the relationship between these people and the governor, are those facts contained in the response?
It is in the public domain that these are relatives, some of them are relatives to the governor, and that will make the CS understand my question, so that's why I put it like that, Mr. Speaker. And my question is to the CS, with those common denominators that all focus on one person, who is the governor of Meru, do you, in your view, are you seeing any connectivity of this killing by the said person? Was there any financing by the governor to these people? Because the call, as you indicated, was that the need of the call from Supu was to discuss on how the late sniper would stop criticizing the governor. And lastly, the cost of the mortuary that are still accruing each and every day simply because the family has not been able to give a decent send-off to their loved one. Is the government going to take this cost, because the delay is on the government side? Because if this case has been closed, then the family would have an opportunity to rest one of their beloved ones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, before the CS responds, honorable senators, do not bring facts that you may be called upon to either prove or substantiate. The fact that some of them are relatives to the governor, that is not a matter in the public knowledge. I'm a member of the public and I'm not aware of those facts. And therefore, don't assume the role of a witness to give evidence. And again, you have to know that this matter is active in court. The reason why I approved this question was because it sought to get a general status of the investigations and what government has put in place to stop this kind of homicide. Beyond that, we will be going deep into the merit and demerits of this case, which I may not allow. Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond to the last limb of the question by Senator Tabitha.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for protecting me. Honorable Speaker, the basic principle of criminal law presupposes individual criminal responsibility. So, one is connected with a crime as an individual, not through family relationship. And therefore, for us, it's not important who is related to who. What is important to the investigators is whoever participated in any way, directly, indirectly, or by being an accessory after the fact, an aider or abettor of the crime will be brought to book. And I want to leave it at that point and appeal that we keep political and other things outside this. It's a purely criminal investigations, and justice will be served.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask a supplementary question in relation to the delay of decent burial of the deceased. Mr. Speaker, could the CS explain or indicate whether, as a government, bearing in mind that a murder trial can last for many years, is there a way, as a Minister of Interior, who we know is a studious minister with a clear mind as to what he's doing, and this matter being a family matter, is there a way his office can talk to the family so that now that some ground has been covered and some people have been charged, that they could now lay to rest the deceased, bearing in mind that if we allow the state to be as it is, it could even be for 10 years, if they're waiting for somebody to be convicted so that they may rest the deceased, it could be a long. Is there anything you can do as a ministry, as an office, to convince the family to lay to rest the deceased? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we would encourage the family to rest their loved one, because first, criminal investigations are never closed. Criminal files are live forever. However, criminal investigations are also complex, and by the time you take someone to court, you must have good evidence so that you don't just engage in an act of futility where you arrest anybody who is mentioned without sufficient evidence and then they are acquitted by court. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in line with the request and the suggestions by the distinguished Senator for Makueni, my friend, the Honorable Manzo, we are trying informally to reach out and talk to the family and the community to just rest their loved ones, because in case of anything, as members of this House are aware, we even exhume people when it is necessary, of course through a court order, if it is necessary. So keeping the body unburied doesn't serve a lot of purpose. In any case, the government does not require any form of pressure to do what is right and what is just. When the victim is buried, when they are not buried, we'll still do what we must. So we will reach out, Honorable Speaker, as suggested, informally, but the decision and discretion lies with the family on when to rest their loved one.
Senator Mariam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to ask the CS on the matter of Al-Shabaab.
No, I'm afraid, Honorable Senator, that I will not allow you to go that route, because under standing orders, the only thing you can do is to ask a supplementary question. And a supplementary question is a question that is related to the primary question. And if you look at the response, if you look at the question and the response by the CS, there is nothing Al-Shabaab in that matter. So if you have a burning question on Al-Shabaab, please file it with the clerk. I'll gladly approve it so that the CS can provide a response to it.
Mr. Speaker, I stand guided, but mine is related questions, and also the CS is an interior security. He knows what is going on.
I know
and
that.
Again,
I'm very
Mr.
much
Speaker,
aware. I did not say the CS is in charge of agriculture. I'm aware that is in charge of interior.
Mr. Speaker,
What I'm trying to guide you, if you look at your standing orders just before you, under standing order 51C7, A and B, you are allowed to ask a supplementary question. That is a right given to you by the standing orders. However, you're not supposed to ask any question that falls within the sphere of interior. You're supposed to pick a question that flows from the primary question. The question that is before the House as we speak relates to the murder of a blogger. So then pick it from there. Let your supplementary question flow from that. If not, you may take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, as you guided, but this is a burning question. Bandera is insecure.
File a question with the clerk, and the CS will gladly respond to it.
Mr. Speaker, please.
Senator Mariam, you're out of order. Take your seat. If you insist, I may ask you to leave the chamber. Please take your seat. Thank you. Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also ask a supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, this matter is about a blogger who was murdered for expressing himself using the online media. We have had so many cases of this nature, Mr. Speaker, where bloggers have been killed and sometimes injured by the people who they are accusing. So even as the minister, the CS handles this case of Meru, we would like to know what the ministry has done over numerous other cases of this nature involving bloggers. So maybe the cabinet secretary can tell us more about cases of this nature which have been reported in the past. So that, you know, this country is a country of freedom of speech, and we would like to have people expressing themselves in all manner of ways. But if we allow this incident to go on, then we will be curtailing freedom of speech in this country. So can the CS tell us about other cases of this nature which have happened in the past and what the ministry is doing about it?
Honorable Osotsi, have you gone through the primary response by the CS, more particularly the last paragraph on page 3?
I have listened to the cabinet secretary very keenly.
Yes, he has, because that is one of the primary questions asked by the senator for Meru, and the written response actually captures that. Nevertheless, Honorable CS, if you have anything to add beyond what you've already stated in your written response, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, over and above my written statement, I want to confirm, just as stated by the distinguished Senator Otsosi, that we have very many cases across the country of complaints, formally lodged complaints by bloggers and people in the cyberspace who have been threatened for expressing political or other views on the cyberspace. We have so many. And what we've done is that we have established a special unit within the DCI, which is handling threats and criminal activities that are being perpetuated on bloggers and people who exercise their freedom of expression through the cyberspace and get intimidated or harassed or punished for it. So we have set up a special unit which is monitoring, first of all, content that could be hateful or perhaps incite violence, but at the same time, that is the same unit that is responsible for protecting the freedom of expression through the cyberspace to ensure that bloggers and other people who express themselves do not attract criminal responses.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would want the Cabinet Secretary to tell this House what assurance he can give to the family of the deceased and the residents of Meru County that because of the nature of this case, that there will be no interference whatsoever and justice will be served and seen to be served. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to assure the family and the community from where this crime has been committed that the government will ensure impartial and comprehensive investigations. And I also want to assure no one will interfere with this investigation. All the people where evidence had led us to investigate have been investigated, including the home of the governor, and nobody is above the law. Anybody who is linked will be punished, who is linked with this crime, and also nobody has the capability, the capacity to try interfering with this matter, because we will not allow crime to thrive because of interference. Nobody is powerful enough to interfere with the statecraft, especially on sensitive issues like national security.
Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the CS for the information given on the blogger who's been killed. In line with the same, Mr. Speaker, I know there is so much threat on the ground, more specifically to the bloggers, and I'm sure the CS is aware sometimes security agencies are also used by those who are in power to silence those bloggers. And number two, Mr. Speaker, there are counties where governors are recruiting youths in the name of Jeshi Fulani, Jeshi this, and Jeshi that. I don't know whether he's aware, but it's something that is actually worrying in most of the counties, and I can speak for Isiolo County. The CS should be on top of those things, and if it is happening, they should look for ways of stopping those kind of arrangement. I thank you.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to confirm that this cyberspace is being used, first of all, for freedom of expression, which is very good, but also, as I've just intimated a while ago, it is being used to incite violence and go overboard, even in some of that expression. So that is the one side of the story. The other side of the story, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that there are people who may want to use security officials to try and suppress opinion and harass people who express alternative political opinions. We are aware. And I want to confirm what the distinguished senator for Isiolo County has said, that we have active investigations as we speak in 19 counties of leaders and other influencers who have organized teams of online people to harass, intimidate, incite violence using the cyberspace. I want to assure the nation that the idea of setting up criminal gangs and groups, either to physically attack people for political or other reason, the idea of organizing groups of criminals to attack opponents and people of a divergent opinion online and propagate violence, we have to deal with that problem before it goes overboard. And therefore, in 19 counties, we are actively investigating groups of both physical and online gangs that are propagating violence in the name of freedom of expression. We will take action on all the actors, whether they are persuaded to support the government or they are in the opposition, because it's a threat to our security as a nation, and we must arrest this matter before it goes out of hand.
Now, honorable senators, we will now proceed to question number 001 by the Senator for Kisumu, Professor Tom Odinga. You may now proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will proceed to ask question number 001. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on investigations into the intercommunal clashes that occurred in Sondu town in Kisumu County, which lies on the border region of Kericho and Kisumu counties during the demonstrations in June and July 2023? 2, what progress has the government made in the disarmament of armed groups in the town? And C, what measures has the government put in place to provide peaceful coexistence and prevent a recurrence of intercommunal clashes in the town? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Right, Honorable Speaker, sir. In response to the question number 001 by the Senator for Kisumu County, Professor Tom Odinga, I state as follows: that the conflict in Sondu area along the Kericho-Kisumu border first has been there for a long time intermittently. But the particular episode that is the subject matter of this statement occurred around June and July 2023, and it was caused by two things. First, a boundary dispute between two sub-counties, Soin, Sigoet in Kericho County and Nyakach sub-county in Kisumu County. That town of Sondu, both counties have been claiming are within their respective counties. Secondly, these clashes and violence occurred as or was triggered by revenue collection activities where both counties, Kericho and Kisumu, wanted to collect revenue, as is in the case with several other neighboring counties across the country. What action has government done? We commenced investigations, but even the immediate action we did to de-escalate the violence was to post the elite general service unit a company or formation to de-escalate the violence and restore law and order. But other than the deployment, Honorable Speaker, we commenced investigations on all the criminals who were responsible for that mayhem, and we opened criminal suits and inquiries in the following cases. Inquest number 3 of 2023, the deceased person, Melzedek Odhiambo. It's pending before court. Inquest number 7/202, Brian Odhiambo Wino, pending under investigations. Number C, inquest number 9 of 202, Nicole Oko, pending under investigations. Number 4, inquest number 9/202, David Otieno, pending under investigations. Inquest number 9 of 203, Colin Sauma, pending under investigations. And inquest number 5 of 202, an arson case, which has also been subject to the inquiry. Further, inquiry case number 10 of 2023, Charles Auma, is pending before the ODPP for directions to prosecute. Right Honorable Speaker, sir, we believe that there are no armed groups in Sondu town. What we believe there are groups and gangs of youths from both sides, the Kericho side and the Kisumu side, who arm themselves with bows and arrows from time to time. And what we've done to make sure that these gangs do not regroup is we have issued a security directive against bearing of arms on both sides. No one is supposed to carry arms. Even as I've said, we have deployed a very, very effective GSU contingent, which has been patrolling that area for close to a year now with a lot of success. Right Honorable Speaker, these are the measures that the government has taken to promote peaceful coexistence in the Sondu town area. First, the deployment of the elite GSU squad, which is already stationed in the area. The officers are conducting a 24-hour patrol within the affected areas. Secondly, we changed the deployment. We did transfers of all police officers from both sides who had served there for a long time, because the evidence was pointing to some of them having been compromised and having been conflicted with the local issues in that area. Thirdly, Right Honorable Speaker, sir, we are encouraging the security teams from the Kericho side and the Kisumu side to carry joint patrols together, so that we make it clear to the residents of that area that security is a national asset, security is a national good, it has nothing to do with boundaries. And therefore the police, the National Police Service of Kenya, for example, whether they are serving in Kericho or Kisumu, are the National Police Service of the Republic of Kenya. So they are doing joint patrols. So on the Kericho side, the team from Kisumu and the team from Kericho patrolling together. And then occasionally also, on the Kisumu side, the two teams patrolling together. We believe this way will demystify or rather reduce the notion which was there that the police on either side was trying to protect the interest of each side. These are National Police Service officers, and they serve the country equally. Right, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, we have arrested and prosecuted suspects. The following people or accused persons have been arrested and arraigned before court for cattle theft, because in those skirmishes, there has also been a case of livestock theft, low scale but quite disruptive in that area. The following people have been arrested and taken to court: Festus Chepkwonyi, Charles Kipkemboi, Walter Omolo Ogutu, Gabriel Ombusa Bolo, Barak Omondi, and Paul Ngeso. We have also enhanced the sharing of intelligence among the security agencies and enhanced the collaboration with both state and non-state actors, including peace organization and other organizations in that area who are helping us with peace. The NCIC also, the National Commission National Cohesion and Integration Commission, has also been facilitating communities there to engage with each other, which is also a government initiative. And finally, I want to commend on behalf of the national government the efforts taken by the governors of the two counties recently, the governor of Kericho County, the governor of Kisumu County, by helping communities to talk to each other and make sure that we have long-standing peace in that area. Right, Honorable Speaker, sir, the measures that have been put in place are effective because normalcy has been returned in that area. The schools that had been closed have been reopened, businesses have resumed, and the Sondu open air market is currently operational. I submit.
Honorable Senator for Kisumu, pursuant to Standing Order 51C7A, you have
Mr. Speaker,
to have
yes,
two supplementary questions.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, my supplementary question is on floods that have afflicted the same victims of clashes. I want the CS to tell the House when he intends to visit the flood infested or the flood affected victims of the Sondu clashes. Mr. Speaker, sir, the sub-county of Nyakach specifically has been afflicted by floods, and the sub-county of Nyando and Kisumu. We have Kapwothe, we have Nyakach, we have Kabonyo Kanyagwal that have suffered from the backflow of Lake Victoria. I just want the CS to tell the House when he's visiting Kisumu and myself, just to share with us, we want to know that the government is concerned about us, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it will be in order for me just to say that I'll visit very soon, because the reasons are mainly two. Right now, the whole country is engulfed in a huge crisis, and we are trying to ensure that we respond and are available to as many emergencies as possible, including the emergency right now in Nyando. It's one of them. And secondly, also, this space, we do not have the privilege of having publicly available long-term calendars published. But I'll be in Kisumu soon in the next few days, and I'll notify the Senator for Kisumu County.
Senator Aaron Cheriot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to welcome Majority Leader Emeritus, the CS for Interior, into this House, always diligent in finding time to come and respond to issues of members. And I appreciate when he takes time to engage us like he has done this morning. Mr. Speaker, I had earlier requested to speak, but you didn't grant me an opportunity. And serving in a position of responsibility or leadership in the House comes with its cost sometimes, part of which includes not picketing at the Speaker when they don't grant you an opportunity. And therefore, I missed out on an opportunity to ask the CS, because we were talking about bloggers and people who've been hurt. At the time of his coming to office, there was a very serious case of 2 Indian nationals who used to work in the communications team of President William Ruto, who were brutally murdered, just like...
So, Majority Leader, let me use my limited powers given to me under Standing Order number 1 to allow you to ask that question, and then you can pick one for this particular question.
Another privilege of being leader of majority. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, if the minister finds it well within his means to give perhaps a response to this, if not, he can file a response later to the House, Mr. Speaker, is a matter of these 2 bloggers of Indian descent that worked in the presidential communications team of then candidate, but now President William Ruto, who were abducted and murdered. I know there had been investigations, but up to date, I have never heard if anyone has been taken to court on that particular matter. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it will be important for the minister to brief the House, because this is something that caused great agony to the young families of these 2 gentlemen that worked with us in the communication team. On this particular issue of Sondu, Mr. Speaker, I want to first appreciate the minister for the steps that he took at the height of that very difficult time and intervened during that season when there were clashes in Sondu. I just wish to request him, Mr. Speaker, if he can confirm to this House whether there are plans to make that GSU camp that he has referred to be in existence on a permanent basis, given that this is an area of high potential threat every time there are either political disagreements or otherwise, Mr. Speaker, because if we can have that GSU camp in permanently there, then it will deter people, Mr. Speaker, who are known to commit either acts of violence or other even acts of theft, because apart from clashes, Mr. Speaker, that are of a political nature, within the same vicinity, there are challenges also of cattle rustling, Mr. Speaker, on the boundaries of Kericho and Kisumu, and therefore it will serve us well in providing calm and peace in that region if this GSU camp can be permanently located in that particular location. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is to request the Cabinet Secretary to now go the full hog. Apart from restoring calm militarily, like has been done by use of police, there is need to pacify the area by engaging elders and local leaders, which is a promise he had made to us when he visited that particular time, because one of the issues I know for a fact that continues to cause problems is a market that was built by the county government of Kericho, but up to date, they are not able to either allocate traders to use that particular market or collect cess from that particular market, yet these are resources that they use, and therefore the people on the Kericho side continue to feel hard done that they invested, that the county government put up a market, which unfortunately they are not able to collect rates from, which is something that causes animosity. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the minister if there are plans to now move this conversation on peace beyond just police intervention and get it to the level of community integration now, so that you have either elders together with leaders so that we can commit. I am aware that at least at the county government level, something is being done between, I think, the governor of Kericho and the governor of Kisumu. I saw a press release last week, but we still feel there is need for a deeper understanding and a well-organized interaction between the 2 communities so that we can bury this challenge for once and for all. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for indulging me.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the majority leader has raised 2 issues in one, and I think he has used the privilege of office to get away and receive the kind of orders and directives he has received under Standing Order 1 I would like to respond as follows. First is the issue of whether or not we have made headway with regard to the Indian nationals who disappeared and are believed to have been murdered just before elections. We have made some progress, but because this is a legal process matter, I request if that question could be conveyed to us in writing so that we get accurate information which is up to date. But from where I sit, I know some progress has been made. We may not have nailed the suspects, but we'll be more than happy to provide the status update if a request is made in writing from the Senate, the Majority Leader. On the second issue, Right Honorable Speaker, sir, at the time when I visited Sondo at the height of the episode in June, July last year, it is true the political leaders from both Kericho and Kisumu had requested to meet with us. We were not very keen at that time, which is one of the occupational hazards I suffer these days. That even my very best friends, sometimes I am forced to avoid them at least for a while, especially where, for example, an active security matter is pointing to the direction of either their friends, supporters, etc. And so I avoided my good friend, the Majority Leader, whom I believe is doing a great job in profiling the position of the leadership of the Senate in this House. And I'm sure he will do much better than us who are trying to figure out what this office was all about at the beginning. However, Honorable Speaker, so we avoided political engagement with political actors at that time because evidence was leading us to stay neutral. But I am happy to report to you, Majority Leader, through the Speaker, that we are in a good place now, and I want now to honor the promise that I did. And I will take the initiative to bring the teams together from your Kericho side and Kisumu side. Mr. Speaker, the House may want to know, the Sondu matter is not as complicated as some of the other issues we are handling. These are brothers and sisters and neighbors who understand each other. So with regard to the question of meeting political leaders for permanent solution, we should be beginning that as soon as possible. And finally, Honorable Speaker, the request or the suggestion from the Leader of Majority about the GSU camp, he had already approached me informally outside the House, and even my senior senator for Kisumu had also requested the same as a sign of ensuring that there is a stability in the area. We will make that camp at Sondu permanent and will increase its strength because we realized that's a matter where presence of law enforcement can 99% resolve the matter.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to the same matter, Mr. Speaker, I remember one time it was on this floor, and at that moment it was a blame of a stolen motorbike. Then it has graduated to other factors. I would like to ask the CS, while looking for a permanent solution, have you dealt with the issue of boundaries? Because, Mr. Speaker, we just did a law here which has gone to the National Assembly. What is it going to do in terms of the boundaries of the counties that have been a dispute, and it be one of the factors, there being a market build which by one county, but they cannot collect, any cess or anything out of a dispute, meaning there is still a dispute up to now. What are you doing about disputed boundaries which cause a similar problem and is likely to cause similar problem in other parts of the country, like in the case of Makueni and the Taita Taveta? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir. It is true about 27 counties in Kenya are having border-related issues, a county and the other. And this is not a matter that has started today. It's a matter that has been there for decades, many decades, as long as Kenya has been established in the manner in which it has been established. It is also true that border issues of neighboring communities is a world over phenomenon. It's not new to Kenya. Our worry, though, as security managers, is the increasing approach of politicization, ethnicization, and criminalization of border-related disputes. That is where we have an issue. The politicization, ethnicization, and criminalization of border disputes, where influencers, whether political influencers or other influencers, want to take advantage of the differing opinion on where beacons and borderlines lay among neighbors to bring in crime, to bring in politics, and to divide the people of Kenya. We have made it clear in the national security sector that we are not going to allow criminals and characters who want to bring violence, crime, negative ethnicity, and destructive politics in a very honest discussion among neighbors as to where borderlines lie. And one may ask, Mr. Speaker, then if politics, ethnicity, and the rest are removed from borders, then why should we have borders? Borders are still relevant for commercial reasons. For example, the majority leader, who is the senator for Kericho, and the senator for Kisumu, that discussion they're having around Sondu has some revenue, commercial-related matters. The same with the distinguished senator for Makueni and their neighbors in Taita Taveta. So we have no problem neighbors canvassing boundary disputes so that they can deal with commercial and other issues that are innocent. What we will not allow: violence, incitement, negative and destructive ethnicity. And therefore, going forward, we have said all these, because I was asked what plans we have, all these 27 almost counties where there is that discussion among neighboring communities, we are going to facilitate, as security managers, facilitate communities to discuss and resolve that issue. Minus crime. And the first thing we are demanding is that there should be no crime, incitement, or ethnic, the perpetuation of ethnic anger as a way of canvassing border disputes. As soon as any counties that are affected remove crime and negative politics and ethnic profiling and incitement from the discussions, will move in, and I'm sure we will find a lasting solution so that the commercial and other issues that are relevant continue unhindered, including what the Senator for Kericho has said. A market like that should be used to help generate the wealth of the people of Kenya, whether they're in the Kericho side or in the Kisumu side. They are the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Senator Chiranke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate Deputy Speaker Emeritus for the wonderful job he's doing. I think he's the best CS, and he knows what he's doing, unlike others. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, you need to protect me, Mr. Speaker. I don't know why the House is excited. But let me move quickly to my supplementary question.
You'll be protected as long as you start protecting yourself.
But
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, we are also secure because the Interior Minister is here. Number quick one, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to do follow up on the issue of also Kisumu and Nandi and Kakamega and Nandi. We have had issues in the past. What is, because Mr. Speaker, what triggers these ethnic and border clashes sometimes is something that is beyond the hardware of the security sector. It could involve the issue of land historical injustice, among others. What is the CS doing to work closely with other agencies like National Land Commission, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, among other agencies, Mr. Speaker, to ensure these issues that trigger border clashes along the borders across the country are permanently resolved so that it doesn't need to go with the hardware or software of the securing the sector, Mr. Speaker? I thank you.
Honorable Sears.
Mr. Speaker, I'm discovering former many things because sometimes former Deputy Speaker, former Senate Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, the matter raised by the distinguished Senator for Nandi is true. What we've been doing in the past and which we are now correcting is that we've been addressing border disputes in a piecemeal and a silo way. For example, as we are aware, the IEBC, for example, has a role in constituency and ward boundaries. As we are aware also, the Constitution of Kenya provides in Article 188 that boundaries between counties will be determined by a boundaries commission, which in my interpretation is not the IBC. I know at least one case which I brought earlier on in my earlier life as a legal practitioner, challenging that issue. And it was around electoral disputes, 2 counties involved. And the court did say that the IBC deals only with electoral and ward boundaries. But inter-county boundaries is the role of the commission envisaged in Article 188, which is not the IEBC. And I know Senator Emeritus Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Makueni did bring a bill at some point to have this commission established. I don't know how that matter has progressed. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, going forward, we want to make sure that we deal with boundary disputes comprehensively. And since boundaries are emotive, they can lead to a breach of public order, we have determined through our teams, the county security teams across the country, and us in Nairobi, we are going to address each of the cases involved in a multi-agency manner, security-led because of the sensitivity issues, but also bringing on board all other actors, the National Land Commission, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and other actors including IBC, but led by our security formations and security management to ensure that we comprehensively deal with those issues. Let me submit as follows as I finish on this matter, Mr. Speaker. If we removed incitement to violence and unnecessarily ethnicizing and politicizing these issues, we will resolve all the 28 inter-county boundaries in this country in a very short period of time. So we will be moving in that direction, and I could be able perhaps to be put to task after 3 months to brief the House and the country where we have started on that program. I submit.
Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to raise an intervention along the line of operations where there is conflict. It could be a policy issue or it could be a training issue. Mr. Speaker, I totally agree with operations that are carried in our pastoral areas because it's a matter of concern. But my worry is the manner in which those operations are carried out. For example, 2 weeks ago, there was operation in Isiolo County, in Garmara area and Kulamawe area. Mr. Speaker, those security agencies are destroying properties, especially semi-permanent houses. Women are beaten up, kids are beaten up, and I think, Mr. Speaker, I would request the CS, if there is any way that we can deal with those issues, because those security agencies, they are even taking away animals of innocent people, Mr. Speaker. So, CS.
To allow the Honorable CS to respond to 3 questions. And therefore, we'll terminate interventions on question number 001 there, and proceed to question number 002 by the Honorable Senator for Tharaka Nithi, Senator Mwenda Gataya Mofire. You may proceed to ask your question.
I would also request to know from the CS Interior what specific measures as the ministry also undertaken to fast-track the establishment of offices for all government institutions, including the National Treasury Office within the sub-county. Chakariga. C, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on the construction of a division police headquarters as well as required police stations in the sub-county? D, what other specific measures has the government taken to enhance access to national government services by residents of the said sub-county, which is Chakariga? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead, Mr. CS.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, in response to the question and statement sought by the Senator for Tharaka Nithi County, I state as follows. Chakariga sub-county was established and carved out from Tharaka South sub-county in 2022. It was gazetted in 2022, and a deputy county commissioner was posted at that time to take charge of the sub-county. The sub-county at the moment is functional and operational, but there are some staff who are yet to be posted, and we are working with other ministries who have not posted their, who have not deployed staff to do so in the soonest time possible. And therefore, one of the things that I want to inform the House also at this juncture is that there is need for us to improve the infrastructure so that we can host the pending officers, public officers who are yet to be posted, who are yet to be deployed. We have not had adequate funds, but we have made arrangements in the 2023-2024 financial year to avail funds to expand the infrastructure offices of the sub-county so that the pending officers who have not been posted or deployed are deployed. Honorable Speaker, sir, at the moment, other than the Deputy County Commissioner, the TSC have already posted an officer, so from Nairobi. We in the Ministry of Interior have also posted recently a national registration or a registrar of persons for the sub-county. Also, other members of the Sub-County Security Committee, including the Sub-County Police Commander, the Intelligence Head, as well as the DCI Head, have also been posted. So the Sub-County is operational, but there are departments of the national government that are yet to post. We are working with them to deploy, but also on our part as the Ministry of Interior, we have factored in the 2023-2024 budget monies to build or enlarge the infrastructure to provide office space, even as we do so for about 16 other sub-county headquarters that are in a similar situation as Chiakariga at the moment. So service delivery is ongoing. Where certain state departments are yet to post or deploy officers, the officers from the mother sub-county, which is Tharaka South, continue to serve the new sub-county. And that is the case all over the country. The new sub-counties have a gradual separation with their mother sub-counties, and we will do whatever it takes to expedite that process. Before I sit down, Right Honorable Speaker, it is good manners as a public officer to declare that this question is about a sub-county from a county where I come from, and it is good manners to say so. But because I have an obligation before the House, that is the position on this matter.
Thank you, CS. Senator Mofai, do you have a supplementary question?
Honorable Speaker, I only want to agree with the CS Interior that what he has stated is true. We have seen some senior officers being transferred to Chakariga. We have the TSC, we have the National Registration Officer who is doing very well. And we trust that what he has just said is going to be realized in the next budget, and the Chakariga is going to be operational. I sincerely thank him for that response.
I will allow supplementary questions related to the original question. Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Cabinet Secretary, for that answer. My supplementary question is...
What is your point of order, Senator Kisang? Proceed.
My supplementary question is in relation to the new sub-counties which have recently been gazetted by the Cabinet Secretary. Maybe the Cabinet Secretary can tell the House the status of those new sub-counties. When are you posting the deputy county commissioners, and have you made arrangements for their settlement and inauguration of those sub-counties? The case in point is Hamisi sub-county in Vihiga County, which you recently gazetted. So maybe you can tell us about that.
Mr. CS.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir. All the sub-counties that were gazetted in March, actually in February, 14th of February, will be operationalized in the coming financial year 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, we encourage senators to liaise with the members of the National Assembly from their counties to prioritize from the CDF the building of infrastructure for DCCs, because that expedites the operationalization process. We have some money, but it's not enough to serve all the needs that we have because of the fiscal space of the country and of the budget. Where members of the National Assembly have invested and contributed to what already we have to complete the infrastructure projects for offices and residencies for our DCCs. We'll be more than happy to operationalize that even as we look for money for the offices of the other sub-counties. I want to assure this distinguished senator for Vihiga County that Hamisi sub-county will be operationalized, and we will deploy the deputy county commissioner and all departmental heads at the sub-county level within the financial year starting 1st of July 2024.
Thank you. Senator William Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, actually my question was similar to what Osotse was asking, because we have a new sub-county called Keria Valley sub-county, and because of the security situation along Keria Valley, we expect that the CS to have by now sent that Deputy County Commissioner, the MP Marakwet East, Honorable Kankoko Bowen, put up Assistant County Commissioner's office near Chesongoj center or town, and we had proposed that the DCC could start from there, as it gives priority to allocate more resources from July to do a proper Deputy County Commissioner's office, Honorable Speaker. And secondly, Honorable Speaker, in the same line, maybe the CS needs to tell us when is he going to operationalize the other units, especially locations and sub-locations that were cassetted 2017 by the late CS Ngaizeri before the elections of 2017. And the last one, Honorable Speaker, is we had requested
Senator Kisang, you only allowed one supplementary question.
Oh, then that's okay. Then finally, just to congratulate the CS. He's doing a very good job. Thank you very much, Waziri. I know also how you assisted me to be elected as a senator. You've done a good job.
CS, you can answer the question.
I hope that doesn't conflict. Honorable Speaker, sir, with regard to the supplementary question or statement of the distinguished senator for Elgeyo Marakwet County, I want to confirm that because of the security situation in North Rift and particularly Elgeyo Marakwet and Baringo County, the two sub-counties that are critical to the securing that area, namely Kerio Valley sub-county and Koloa sub-county in Tiati in Baringo County, will be operationalized within the next 30 days.
Senator Enoch Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe this is not going to be another ambush to the CS. But my question is in relation to a matter that the CS knows very well, the matter of the Tharaka-Tagishu sub-county. I say he knows it very well because, Mr. Speaker, the CS was part and parcel of the push to get that sub-county, and it has been operationalized. It has been given a sub-county code. But, Mr. Speaker, the people of Tharaka-Tagishu continue to suffer as though they don't have a sub-county. I say this because in the last recruitment for KDF, they were denied an opportunity to carry out their own recruitment in their own sub-county, even after they have been issued with a sub-county code. And they were forced to move to Mumoni Ward to compete for positions in Mumoni Ward. We tried to raise this matter with the authorities. We were not successful. I am happy, and the people of Tharaka are lucky, that the person who actually pushed the creation of that sub-county is here to respond to that question and give them the assurance that in the coming recruitments, then the people of Tharaka Tagishu will exercise the right of recruitment on account of their own sub-county code. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. CS.
CS, my good neighbor at home, Senator Wambua, is correct. This time he hasn't ambushed me. The only small clarification I want to make again as part of clarifying for ethical reasons. You know, he has said I was part of the people who pushed for this sub-county, and he has forgotten to clarify I did so before I became a cabinet secretary, when I was a politician in active politics. I say so because, again, generally that's where I come from, and I know, of course, it was a deserving case, and we and Senator Wambua were very critical as senators from the two counties, trying to make sure that that area is given an additional sub-county, and I must thank Senator Wambua for the support he gave towards that process as well. At the moment, I am not allowed to push for anything. I am allowed to serve Kenya and push Kenya forward as a whole. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is true, just like many sub-counties which have been established, it takes time before all the agencies and departments realize and actualize the need for the autonomy of each sub-county and grant them the fair allocation of their resources, including recruitment, into the public service. And therefore, it's unfortunate that the incident happened. I want to request the Senator for Kitui County and any other senator who are similarly situated in their counties, let us know when there is any agency that is recruiting, you know, and you feel that there is a sub-county which is actually already established and has been given a code and is operational and has not been factored. Because some of the people who prepare those advertisements, some of those public officers, may not be up to date with the recent developments in terms of the creation of new units. Sometimes it's not their fault. And please, let's work together and make sure that we don't have a repeat of that. And I want to assure the Senator for Kitui County, the people of Kitui, and particularly the sub-county of Tharaka Tagishu, that all recruitment for all agencies and ministries and departments or in the public service will factor in this sub-county because it is operational and it's an autonomous sub-county, which should be treated as such. The president did visit that sub-county sometimes last year, I think 13th of July or thereabouts, last year, 2023. And there is a presidential directive which we are implementing again, we hope we'll implement in the 2023-2024 budget, where we are directed to provide, construct the sub-county offices and a resident for the DCC and provide a vehicle for the DCC and other members of the sub-county security committee. I submit.
Thank you, Senator Alexander Mundingi.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Swali langu ni kwa ujumla. Sijui kama utaniruhusu upande ya security niweze kuuliza, lakini upande ya security, Bwana Spika.
Senator Mundingi, swali lazima ihusiane na ile swali ambayo ilikuwa imeulizwa na Senator Mofaya. Pengine tutakupatia nafasi tukimaliza kuuliza maswali zote. Si saa hizi.
Meru, ungeniruhusu tu dakika moja niweze kuuliza swali langu, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, Bwana Spika, wakati huu juu ya ulinzi, serikali ya Kenya Kwanza inafanya kazi mzuri, na pia Bwana Profesa unafanya kazi mzuri, lakini wakati huu mvua inanyesha sana, tungetaka amani, na tumeona viongozi wengi ambaye wale wanaenda kusaidia watu kule vijijini, wengine kama wale walienda Mkuru kwa Jenga na wengine kwa Ruven, wakisema watu wasitoke pahali wamejenga kwa mto, na tunajua wakijenga hapo watashukuru maji. Na kwa sababu ya kuangalia maslahi ya hao watu na kuuliza, kwa sababu ni mchapakazi kutoka siku hiyo mpaka leo, umesukua jukumu gani ya watu kama hao walichosea watu wasiame, ndio tujue aidha wawekwe ndani au mpelekwe kotini, ndio kitu kama hiyo isikuje kutokea tena. Na tunajua hata walitamka matamuzi mabaya wa kusema wengine watu wanalala. Umechukua hatua gani, ama kama unaanza saa hii utakuwa mmaliza wakati gani ndio watu wawekwe ndani, ndio tuwe na amani katika serikali ya Kenya Kwanza? Asante Bwana Spika.
Waziri, kama ungependa kujibu unaweza jibu. Kama unaona si swali ambayo inahusiana na...
It's an ambush, Mr. Speaker, but you know now I am subject to the authority of your directive. Generally, let me submit as follows in response to the matter raised by the distinguished senator for Embu County. We want to encourage the people of Kenya to see the ongoing environmental crisis for what it is and nothing else. Just like all other matters, it's a national crisis. Kenya is paying a huge price for the environmental crisis that we have nothing to do with. It is the pollution and the degradation of the environment, mainly by the big polluters of the world, that is responsible for the devastation we are doing. And today, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, our country, in our order of national security priorities, the effects of climate change is assuming a very, very crucial and important ranking in those priorities. The people we have lost in the last 1 month in this country are almost 80% of all the people we have lost to terrorism in the last 10 years. That is how serious the climate crisis is. And the rains are not over yet. And therefore, directly to what the Senator for Embu has said, we want to ask leaders, influencers, politicians, and all other people in positions of authority and influence to desist politicizing or even inciting the public, especially when security alerts and security orders have been issued. They are for the public safety. They are not for politics. They are not for other things. And we hope that this is the